Again, you guys have been with me long enough to know that I used to say 5 minutes to 10 minutes. This was like 2 years ago. Then we started listening to a lot of telesales calls, and I'm sitting here scratching my head like, dang, man, it's like 5 minutes is a long time. We don't need to go. Not even 10 minutes is terrible. And I was like, okay, 3 to 5. And then it's like, even that, then it's like, wait a minute. Then it's back to the kind of like what Jose was saying, quantity versus quality, right? It's like we can get quality in a short period of time. And again, it's hard to tell, right? Some people are very talkative, like this lady's very nice. Some are just shut down and it's hard to deal with them. But to me, 1 or 2 minutes, it's all you need. I always let people talk up to a point, right? There's that fine, that's both and really. It's like if I'm 5 or 10 minutes into this, we got to move on, because it's like, and I hate to look at it as transactional, but I look at it as transactional. Like, I'm here to sell a policy, not become friends. I want to become friendly. But every minute that happens after we've achieved, we're friendly now. There's marginal return. Like another 5 minutes of, chit chat isn't going to make me get the sale. Because at some point somebody can be friendly, but they're going to have questions about the product and concerns, right? So we have to migrate or transition to the rest of the call to win their trust, to get their money, right? So don't, I used to let people my mother used to, I love my mom, and she's part of the reason I am the way I am. She used to talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. And I just shut up and listen, It was good. It taught me how to be a good salesperson, because that's really what we're trying to teach you guys, is to shut up and listen. They'll tell you everything that you need to know to close them if you'll just ask the right questions and shut up, right? But when it comes to when I first started, I just felt like, it's exhausting, and it takes a lot of time to just listen to people who just unload on you. And so there came a point where I was very clinical. You guys can listen to some of my old sales calls where I would just talk for maybe 30 seconds, a minute, make that kind of positioning personally, like I'm authority, but I'm trustworthy, I'm easygoing, all the elements that you want to have. And then I get into the sales pitch, because it's the rest of the sales pitch that gets them to convince themselves to hand their money over to purchase a policy, right? So there's again, a couple minutes into rapport building, marginal returns, meaning like another minute of it's not going to get you that much closer to the end game, right? You've done what you could in your first minute or two. And beyond that, whether you're going to move the ball down further down the field to the goal line depends on the rest of the presentation. Does that make sense? So how do you get out of a talker? You wait for them to take a breath, and then you say, oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to tell you. My name is David Duford. The reason I'm calling, and you just kind of pick up. You just want to interrupt. Oh, like you just remembered something. That's like the old Columbo close. Oh, by the way, hey, and then just keep going. Okay. I can't tell you if, prospect A or B or Z is going to need 30 seconds, a minute, or 5 minutes, right? You're just going to have to learn the stuff. And that's why you really learn this business, not by sitting and reading the script. Up to a point, that's good. But the next step takes from pulling the trigger and talking to real people and seeing how they respond, and developing your instincts, right? So what were your thoughts and concerns when you requested this information? If you're in person, what were your thoughts and concerns when you sent back this postcard, or when you requested this information on Facebook? What were your thoughts, concerns? When you get really good at this business, based on how they answer here, I believe firmly that you'll be able to tell if they're going to buy 80%, 90% of the time. This is that important of a question, right? So make sure you're asking this. Don't forget to ask this. Very important. I'll just throw this in here because it may or may not happen, and I want to make sure we address this. It is about half the time you'll get a non-answer to this. You'll get, well, I see this thing on Facebook all the time, so I clicked it and filled it out. Or I get these cards all the time, and I just figured I'd send it in. Or I'm getting older. These aren't whys. These are excuses, okay? People don't buy because of an excuse. They buy because of their reason why, right? So if you hear this, the response, it's in the script, but I'll kind of verbally go over it as best as I remember. Sounds something like, hey, that makes sense. I'm sure you get this stuff all the time. But what I have discovered in talking to people about why they did this is that something has happened in their life that has caused them now to realize it's important to be covered, to have a final expense plan into place to cover their funeral or burial expenses, and to give their loved ones peace of mind. And that's my question to you, is what has happened in your life now that has caused you to be interested in this? or to get a plan. Going to be a little bit more direct. So that is the response. We don't let them get away without them telling us why they did what they did. Does that make sense? We must know why they did what they did. We must know what is motivating them. Without their motive, it's hard to pin them on why they should buy today.